Hey guys, this is Event Analyser for atlasopendata, and today I'm going to be showing you how to run the Event Analyser website and GUI on Windows 10. So this does only work for Windows 10, so if you've got an older version of Windows or a different operating system, then this tutorial will not work. So the first thing that we need is something to run the commands on. So this doesn't work on the regular Windows command prompt, so we need something called bash on Ubuntu on Windows, and this uses the Linux subsystem for Windows, which is free with Windows 10 and just makes the whole process run a lot smoother. So the first thing that we need to do with this is enable something called developer mode. So to do this, we go into just regular settings, then updates and security, then for developers down the side, and then make sure that developer mode here is ticked. And then once that's done, you turn developer mode on. And next, now that we've got developer mode, we can enable the Linux subsystem. So this needs to be done on PowerShell whilst running it as an administrator. So right click PowerShell, run as administrator, and type in this command just here. So Enable-WindowsOptionalFeature, online FeatureName, Microsoft-Windows-Subsystem-Linux. Press enter there. So I've already got it, so it did it really quickly. But it may take longer for you, and restart needed will be true if this is the first time that you've done it. So you need to reset your computer in order to complete that install. If this for whatever reason doesn't work, there is another way to do it, which I'll show you now. So if we go into Control Panel, on Programs, and then in Programs and Features, click on Turn Windows Features on or off, and then scroll down right to the bottom, and we have Windows Subsystem for Linux. So make sure that this is ticked, and then you will need to restart your computer if you're ticking it for the first time, and the subsystem will be turned on. Cool, so once that's done, we've got the subsystem, and now we just need the right terminal. So the first thing to do is on command prompt, just a regular Windows command prompt, type in bash, just bash, and press enter. So if the first time that you've done this, it will install the bash subsystem so that you can type in bash commands on the Windows terminal. So that's the first thing we need. We're not going to use that specifically, but we did need it for now. And then open another command prompt and type in this lxrun install /y. So this installs something slightly different. I've already done it, so it doesn't take long, but when you first do it, it will take a second. And then this installs the desktop app bash on Ubuntu on Windows, and this is what we're going to use throughout most of the process. So this is just another terminal, and this basically gives you full access to all of Ubuntu's features, but just in a terminal on Windows, so it's pretty useful. Cool, so once we've got that, then we've got bash on Ubuntu on Windows, and we can get to downloading all of the code and all of the analysis that needs to be downloaded. So let's minimize this for now. So the first thing we need is the code from GitHub. So this holds the actual Event Analyzer and the website and all the analysis that needs to be done. So just click on clone or download and download zip. It's not too big, so it probably shouldn't take too long. There we go. So show in folder, so some of my downloads. So open it with WinRAR, and then just extract it somewhere sensible. So I've got mine, I extracted mine into a folder called GitHub, Event Analyzer, and I've got it all there. So once that's installed, that's the kind of the main core code. And there's a few changes that you'll need to make in order to use this. So the first thing is, if you were to click on input and then click on either of these folders, you notice that they're both empty except for the .keep files. So they're empty because the input data is pretty huge. It's about 5.5 gig. So we didn't want to upload it all to GitHub, and so you need to download it and copy it into it from the Atlas website. So if we go to this website here, opendata.atlas.cern/extended-analysis/datasets.php, we've got this website just here. So it's pretty good. You can download any of the individual root files that you want from the Monte Carlo simulations or from this actual data, but we want all of it, so we're going to go into bulk download and install that from there. Like I say, it's about 5.5 gig, so I'm not going to download that because it'll take a few minutes. Then once you've downloaded that, it'll be a zip file again, so open it with WinRAR, extract it somewhere, and I have installed it in the folder Atlas Data, my complete set of open data samples, and it's all of these root data files. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of that and copy it back into our GitHub download. So if we go into the thing that we downloaded from GitHub, go into input and just paste it here. I've already done it, so I don't need to, and it'll take a few minutes because there's a lot of data. But that will then copy the input data into here, and you'll have all of the root files that you need. Cool, so that's all of the input data. And another thing that you may have noticed is that you may not have this key just here. So this is for the website. So until you get this private key, you can't run the website from your own computer. And because it is a private key, we can't put it onto GitHub, so you will need to request it from this email address just here. So if you just email atlasopendata@gmail.com and just ask for the website private key, you'll get sent it, and it'll be something called a JSON file. And so make sure that it's named atlasdata-private key, and then put it into your Event Analyser folder from GitHub. And that's everything that we need for the actual code itself. And the only other thing that we need to download from the web for now is root. So root is a system that CERN use for their analysis, and it basically tells the analysis what to do essentially. So we need to go to this website here and go to root.cern.ch/release-61204. So we're using this version 6.12/04, and by the time you come to do this, there may well be a newer version available, which should work fine, but probably won't be any different. So I would recommend that you use the one that this one here, because we've tried and tested this one with all of the analysis, and it definitely works completely fine. Cool. And so if we scroll down, because we're using the bash on Ubuntu on Windows terminal, we're going to want one of the Ubuntu distributions. And there's two, there's 14 and 16, and the version that you get needs to match your Ubuntu version. And your Ubuntu version can be checked really easily with this command here, lsb_release-a. So if we do that, we can see that my release version is 16.04. So I'm going to want, because it says 16 here, Ubuntu version 16. If it says 14, then you'll want Ubuntu 14. So just click on this and download it. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. So again, this is a tar file, which is similar to like a zipped file, so we can open it with WinRAR. Wait for it to load. And just extract it to, again, somewhere where you know where it's going to be, and you'll have the necessary root files. So I saved mine in Documents, Atlas Data. So I've called mine video tutorial, so this is where my root files are. So if you extract it and put it somewhere, this is what you'll see. So you've got the file root, all of these files, and the file that we're most interested in is this one here called bin. Cool, so now we've got root and we've got all the data and the input data and the private key. We can go ahead with the next couple of steps. So we've done this. Okay, so we're going to need to download quite a bit of stuff for the whole analysis. There's lots of different parts to it that need explicitly downloading. And the first thing, the kind of best thing to do, is just to update everything you've got so far. So if you just type in sudo apt-get update and type in your password that you would have needed to make earlier, and then that will just update everything. I've done this recently, so this shouldn't take too long. Cool. There we go. And the next thing that we need before we go any further is libroot-core-dev. So if we type this in, sudo apt install libroot-core-dev, I've already got it, so it's not going to take long, but you need that in order to use root, which is the system that CERN use. Excellent. So now we've got this file, we can use the root that we downloaded. So we need to kind of tell Ubuntu where to look for root, and to do this we use the command source. And so what we want to do is firstly take this terminal into this folder here. So we use that with the command cd, and then to go to your root directory you type in /mnt, and so that's taken us to our kind of home. So type in ls, that shows us what files are in the current folder that we're looking at. So I've got two folders, C and D, so they're my two drives. So I've got everything saved in my D drive. So I go into my D drive and then documents, and then we just follow this directory up here until we get into the bin folder. So Atlas Data, video tutorial, root, bin. Excellent. So type in ls, and we can see all of these are these folders here. And so what we're going to need to do is type in source thisroot.sh, but that's not going to work quite, because there's one slight difference that needs to be made before it works. So if we open root config, I'm opening it with PyCharm, which is pretty good. You get it free if you're a student, but it doesn't really matter what you open it with. And there are two lines that need to be changed in root config in order for it to work with Ubuntu and the versions of Python that we were using for the rest of the analysis. So what you'll see, the difference that you'll see is that on line 31, these two quotation marks weren't there, and essentially you just need to add them. So just surround that in quotation marks, and that's line 31 fixed, and then you go up to line 26 and just do the same thing where every time you see a $sign, put a quotation mark before it and then a quotation mark at the end of at the kind of after the word that follows it. So these two here, these two here, these two here, these two here, and then these two here. And then once you've added those quotation marks, press Ctrl S and close that. That's fine. And now we'll be able to use root. So the root that we want is called thisroot.sh. And so we type in source thisroot.sh. So if you didn't change the quotation marks, then you would get an error here. But because we changed it, then it's fine. Cool, so now we've sourced root, it knows where to look for root, and so we can go back and install things that we need and start running the analysis. So these CD again means that we're navigating through our folders, and the 2 dots means go back. So gone back to documents, and then we go into, if you remember, all my analysis was in my folder GitHub, Event Analyser Final, and it had it all here. So cd GitHub Event Analyser Final, there's 2 of them for some reason, ls, and so we've got 2 things that we're going to run. So webpy is our website, and deprecated GUI is our GUI. It's called deprecated GUI because it is an old version, and it's no longer being updated. So if you wanted to run the most recent updates that we've been adding, then you need to use web.py. Cool, so we're not quite ready to open them yet because we need to download a bunch of things in order to get it to run. So we've changed root config and we've sourced this root, so then we can start installing things. So the first thing we need is just Python. So sudo apt install python minimal. That's not working. So Python minimal means Python 2.7. And that's what it was written on. There is more updated versions of Python, Python 3, but that's not what we used. So that's installed. The next thing we want is something called pip. Pip is used to then install more things that are used on the website. So if we type in sudo apt install python-pip python-dev build essential, then that will install everything that we need for pip. And if you already had pip, then it's good to upgrade it. So just sudo apt install upgrade pip. It's good practice just to do this anyway. Okay, so it's already up to date, so that's fine. Excellent. So now we've installed pip, we can install Flask. So sudo pip, no sorry, not sudo, just pip install Flask. So Flask is used for the website. So pretty quick because I've already downloaded it all. This may be taking a little more time for you. And then for the GUI we need something called Tinker. So we type in sudo apt install python-tk, and that installs Tinker. So that's for running the GUI. And the last thing that we need is something called Firebase. So sudo pip install firebase-admin. So Firebase is used for the website because to make the website quicker, a lot of the analysis is run already and it's stored in somewhere called Firebase. And so when you run the analysis on the website, you don't have to redo the analysis because it takes a long time. Instead, looks in Firebase and finds it for you. So that's why we need to install Firebase. Excellent. So we've got everything ready to run the website, but if you did want to run the GUI, then we need something to display it, because Windows doesn't have anything to natively display Python written interfaces. So we need something called xming. So xming is a display server, and so if you just Google xming, just click on this one, should be fine, and press download. Download will start shortly. Awesome, so this downloads xming, so just run this, press yes, go through the setup. All of the defaults are fine unless you want to change somewhere where it's being kept. So all of that's fine, that's fine. You want this ticked, so that's fine. And then install it. I've already installed it, so I'm not going to do it again. But then we'll have xming. So this is the display server that is going to show us the GUI. And so we want to make sure that this is running. So just type in xming, and once you've installed it, then this will be here. Click on that, and a little icon will display just here, showing that your xming server is running. And then to check that it's working, there's a simple way to do it. If you type in sudo apt install x11 apps, so that installs a bunch of things for xmin to display that you can use to check that xmin is working. So for xmin to display things, we need to tell it how to. So if we just type in export display equals :0, then that makes Xming know how to display things. And one small check that you can do to make sure that it's working is type in xeyes, and then an Xming server will pop up and it will display these eyes here that will look at your mouse, and so that shows that Xming is working fine. So we've done these two. Alright, so now we've got Xming working and it's definitely displayed right, we've got everything downloaded, and we've got the data, the input data, the code, the keys, the root. We can now actually launch our GUI and our website. So we type in Python, because it's a Python file, and deprecated GUI.py, press enter, and it starts our event analysis. So again, this hasn't been updated, is no longer updated because it's all been moved onto the website. But you can do your whole thing. It tells you how to do it. I'm not going to do any analysis because it takes quite a while, but then you run it and then it will give you your histograms. So let's close that. And then the website, we type in python web.py, press enter, and it's running on this server just here. So we highlight it, press Ctrl+C to copy, go on to any kind of browser, and go onto here. So the website at the moment is under maintenance, so it's not up, but when you do this, this will show your whole analysis website. So just to show you a quick thing about how it's going to work, type in /demo and you get to this this kind of prototype version. So you can see, I can't run the GUI at the same time, but we can see that we've got all the same options and you can run the exact same analysis, and then for actually the data set that you want to use, and yeah, then you can run the analysis and get the same outputs. Excellent. So that's how we run the Event Analyzer on Windows 10 using the bash on Ubuntu on Windows Terminal in order to display the GUI and the website.